Welcome to the Retail Reality Show.
Welcome to another episode of the Retail Reality Shorts.
Today. Short.
Nicolas, are you wearing shorts today?
I'm not wearing shorts. I'm not wearing Speedos. I'm wearing normal pants. Thank you, Nino, for that appropriate question in a show that should be appropriate for all audiences.
It is. It's the shorts time. It's summer, so you can wear shorts.
Very nice. But we have a reason for this shorts today, don't we?
We have a reason, and the reason is OpenAI, large language model providers overall enter shopping. I think they all have monetization pressure. They are heavily funded. What was the last Anthropic funding?
I don't remember, but it was a the kind of money that none of the two of us will ever have.
I think it was 100 billion something. Crazy funding. But obviously they're all trying to get a piece of the pie, and they all figure out their monetization strategy on the fly. And I think if you look back on the Cyber Week, my favorite example was Perplexity. During Cyber Week, they had this shopping portal, and they integrated, I think it was Shopify, not just linking out to commerce portals, but doing the checkout in the platform. And they're also talking or have integrated payment providers. They've integrated, if I recall exactly, PayPal. And now I think, Nicolas, the rumors are out that OpenAI is also showing their integration, their cart integration to first brands, right?
I think actually it's not just them. I think the war for the attention of the AI interested shopper has already started in different areas. I mean, there was this Amazon shops for me on different websites game. That's the Rufus, I forgot the name of it. Mm-hmm. There is basically
buy with Amazon or
buy with Amazon, exactly.
Or buy for me. Buy for me, I think was.
There's a Perplexity example, and now Financial Times has launched an article around OpenAI already talking to brands and retailers about a model which is OpenAI shopping, which could, in the end, work like a marketplace model. So they would take a revenue share for each product sold through their site. They would integrate product feeds into their website. They even, Sam Altman in an interview hinted at allowing I think tasteful advertisement. Mm-hmm. So what you can really feel is, on the one hand, you feel that they are sort of trying to monetize these platforms or these tools that are often not profitable because they consume a lot of compute power and so far are just burning money. And on the other hand, you can see that there's already a race starting over the attention for the consumer, because as consumers, obviously, we're not going to use 5 of these models. We're probably going to use 1 or 2.
So if I interpret that all correctly, I mean, in the old days, and the old days is not 10 years ago or 5 years ago, it's last year or 2 years ago, shopping started on Amazon, reading product reviews, reading through, AI summaries even now. And the other entrance was probably Google. I also started my search on Google because I think it's good. You have shopping, you have the most important articles from other brands. But now what you're saying is those brands are taking that attention and that also task basically to give you advice which product you should buy, correct?
I think what we see is it's a new way of giving shopping advice to consumers that is not coming through a real person. I mean, the retailers, and we're going to talk about that in a while or in a minute. The retailers are facing a new competition, which is digital and which has almost an infinite database of product recommendation, of information around products. It's kind of, I think it's a threat to the perceived business model of how we think retail should work. So I think it is kind of influential. The question here will be, I mean, there's a couple of technological complexities connected. I think the question is, who of those models or which one of those models will reach a stage where people feel, okay, this is an option for every time I shop. I think so far what we've seen, Perplexity, that it is cool, but it also was kind of inconsistent in the beginning. So if you tried the same query 2 or 3 times, you would get different results. So I think the question is which one of these models reaches a stage quickly enough that is consistent for the consumer, so the consumer says, okay, I'm always going to use this?
100%. I also tried it during last Cyber Week, and I had the same experience. It's inconsistent, but I have to admit, today I used OpenAI a lot for everything, and it's quite good because I start from my needs and not so much from a vague idea of what I want to buy in terms of product. Obviously, now Amazon also can counsel, like you said, Rufus, but I don't think it's as good as OpenAI or also Perplexity and any other platform that might come. But you just said this is typically also something a retailer. I mean, if you are wearing your retailer hat, that's probably something that's a core USP, unique selling proposition of a retailer, right? You counsel, you provide service, you know the customer.
Yeah, I think when it comes to especially brick and mortar retail, it narrows down the differentiation even further, because getting advice from a store associate might actually be replaced by getting advice by ChatGPT, and in the worst, or whatever language model you use, in the worst case situation, people come into the store and already got their advice and just want the product, which will in the end reduce your function to like product handover. So you will have to have a very good idea of your inventory and your price. That will become more important. If people need the product now, they want to know where it is. And second of all, I think an important differentiator can only be a shopping experience. So in the end, it's going to be even more in the focus of how to make my store experiential. We recently had that episode together with Liga Nova on their 30th birthday, where it was all about in-store experience and how to drive that. But I think that is going to become even more of a focal point once these models fulfill the consulting needs when it comes to products for most consumers. I mean, like, how long do you normally consult on, I don't know, buying a mouse or a keyboard or a screen? You take some time, but if those tools summarize it for you, I think the decision process will become quicker. And many people already trust these tools quite a lot. So I think this is going to be quite disruptive once it hits the market fully.
I agree. So, I mean, you're saying as a retailer, you're then degraded to kind of the physical supplier. So moving stuff from A to B if you ship it, or providing it in an experiential space, which is a retail store, correct?
Mm-hmm. So yeah, it's the retail experience that becomes more prominent when it comes to brick and mortar. It's the physical availability in the now that's more important. But in order to play the physical availability in the now, that will put even more pressure on retailers' data excellence. So right now we're talking about what they need to do in order to be attractive for the consumer. But in order to be even listed by these tools, you will have to provide them with a feed of availability and what products are there and how many of them do we have and the price. And it all needs to be accurate and on time. And that will make it even more important in the future in that game to have a very good hygiene when it comes to data handling.
So, I mean, what you're saying is you integrate, like today you can also integrate to Google Shopping. So you upload your shopping feed, you pay a fee to Google. Or what you can also do is you can place SEA ads, search engine advertising. So you get ranked higher, and you can do SEO. So I would argue you will find all of that also in the new world of LLMs, right? I mean, like you said, Sam Altman, he said, I can imagine that this might be a thing, that we do it. We monetize. So you actually pay OpenAI or Anthropic or whomever for getting ranked higher, or you have a higher probability to get proposed to the customer. If you look for earphones, for example, it's AirPods versus Sennheiser. So if Sennheiser pays more, you will find probably a recommendation by the Sennheisers up on top, probably.
Yeah, I think it's a very interesting new economical spectrum or sphere that's opening up. And but we have this nice, like, we have a little Notion where we have notes for this episode. We have this nice table that Nino built around what all of the AIs are doing in terms of shopping, or all of the large language model providers, and how they want to monetize it. And there it starts. So basically you have the classic search engine providers, the Bings and the Googles, which essentially already have a monetization option for traffic. And they also have, let's say, a competitive advantage because most of the product feeds are already in their systems and they know how to real-time inventory and product search on a large scale. So that's the one thing I would say gives them a little head start in this game, because most of the large language models usually rely on content that's a bit older, and when it comes to like real-time content, they have to access a different layer or use different technology or create or even trigger a search on Bing or Google. So this is sort of going to be an interesting part in the beginning. How do they want to monetize? Because like Bing and Google already are doing it. Now the second part, and that's even more interesting, is how much sort of critical mass will one or each of these providers be able to generate in short time? So how big will the catalog be that an OpenAI will have on their platform? Like, let's say the officially seller, let's say, approved inventory. Are they going to have a relevant set of products quickly enough in order to monetize properly? Or are they going to go through, I'm going to have the products anyways, I'm going to link to them regardless of whether I get a fee or not? So this is also an interesting question around that. I think there's a new game of fighting for the attention of the shopper, and also a new game of where do we get the information from? How big is your catalog? How relevant is it? Does the consumer accept that all of a sudden a tool that seems unbiased becomes biased? I think this is interesting times.
Probably it's, if I think in business models and providers, if you look at all those onboarding partners for the big platforms and marketplaces like Channel Advisor, TradeByte, and all of those guys, probably that's also a new revenue channel for them, or a new channel at all in the end.
It's likely, because you have to distribute your feeds somehow. Whatever you use as a feed management platform, you need to get the feeds to more recipients in the future, and you have to have them up to date, because it's going to be a game of availability as well, as always.
Yeah, I think what's interesting, what I found in my research. So there are a few companies out there. One of them is Vercel. They have invested a lot of energy and time into understanding how you gain relevance for an LLM, as opposed to in the Google world, it's SEO, search engine optimization. I'm not a SEO expert, but I mean, I can remember it's backlinks. And I think it's keywords that you have to strategically place, and there are a lot of agencies that probably gonna die. But in the new world, in the LLM world, you have to fight for attention. Coming to the paper, attention is all you need. This is how all it started. I think getting attention of a large language model, they are saying it's more of how well structured the content is, how deep it is, and how clear the message is. I think that's interesting because those are not typical, I would say, KPIs of SEO and the old world.
It's. I mean, the geo world has already started. I think as for now, we are really at the beginning of this, because also the way these models build their information bases is pretty new. So I think there's going to be a lot of change, a lot of probably filtering also in the way they ingest content for the new iterations of the large language models. But of course, it's the new scene. It's important. You want to be seen. I always perceive also when working with the large language models that right now it's the era of, instead of creating meaningless masses of content, so instead of creating a lot of content, it's more about creating the right content and really have context, have relevance, have authority on the content you create. So it really sort of brings back the need or the value of proper content that you and me and the consumers out there really might want to read. I think that's actually a good thing.
Totally.
Still, at the same time, the large language models become better and better at creating this kind of content. And even the models that check whether a content is AI generated increasingly struggle to see which one is real and which one isn't. So there's already the next, let's say, challenge is built into that development at this moment. So we're going to see a lot in that space. But let's focus on another scenario. I think like right now, one scenario is very clear. Once it comes to explaining products, or a product that needs explanation, a product that needs consultation, I think it's relatively clear what the benefits of a large language model are, or what the benefits of an AI mode of the Google search would be. So explaining to me how, like, what kind of like, I don't know, system do I need in order to connect my garden hose to water my plants? That's something there. It's like, it's obvious. But then there's a second use case, which is, I just want to do a fast price comparison. I know I want an iPhone 256 gigabytes. I want an Android phone, whatever. And I want to quickly know what is available on the market, where is it available, and which one, like which vendor is the cheapest. What's your position on that one, Nino? What do you perceive? Do you also think the large language models will have the upper hand there quickly?
I think that's because if you that's a very hard game. I would say it's probably quicker for them to integrate existing providers. If you look at country by country, I think in Germany you have Idealo or Geizhals or Billiger.de. In the US you have Buy Cheaper. I don't recall the exact name, who have all the availability and the pricing, and they are very accurate and they're in real time. So probably it's more of a partnership they have to do with those platforms to get the most recent pricing, because they have aggregated everything. They maybe just share part of the revenue with them. That's my prediction.
Yeah, I hear you. It's going to be very interesting, because all of these players that are sort of in the center of it, and we shouldn't forget Google, Bing, and Amazon and eBay, they also have massive price catalogs and real-time inventory. And I think these will be important players still. They also have a bit of a war chest to play and to try to be a part of that, let's say, new shopper economy. But yeah, I think it's we are looking into a shift that at least we can say, and it's probably going to be a disruptive shift.
Yeah, and I think it's another healthy, or if you look at search, the core business of Google, who are, let's say, very dominant in that place, I would say I see a healthy competition coming up, which we haven't seen for quite a while.
I think that's nicely put. So when you look at it, what's your bet? Will one of the, let's say, AI behemoths win this game, or do you bet on the classic players from the search space? You don't have to name one, but who do you think has the upper hand? Who do you think is more likely to win in this new sort of war for attention of the consumer?
I think it's very hard to say currently, because like you said, Google, for example, they have a big war chest, and now if you look at how fast they have moved in the last half year, if I look at my Google feed, now half a year ago there was maybe every 10th search I saw an AI generated summary. Now it's every search almost. So I think they're feeling the heat and the pressure. And if you look at the statistics and the big platforms, how much traffic they're seeing from those LLM platforms, I think it's, I don't know, 2, 3, 5, 4 or 5%, but not 10. So I think it's still very low, but it's increasing. And I think if the value increases, consumers get out of those platforms. There's I would say, a platform lock-in. Now they bring shopping. You don't have to leave those platforms anymore to do the transaction. So I would say there is a valid chance that those new kids on the block eat into the Google market share, especially, and just to call out OpenAI and the John Ivey acqui-hire. If they manage to bring a device that is as sexy as the iPhone, then they, I would say, similar to iOS, they get a share of attention of consumers, and then all of a sudden they are part of the daily life of those consumers, and then I would say there's an even higher chance.
Yeah, it's interesting. I also don't have a prediction yet. I think the established players do have opportunity in here, because they're already part of an everyday, let's say, routine that people are used to. On the other hand, we also have a new generation growing up that is, let's say, AI native, or that grows up with talking to an LLM. So I think going forward, there's no way to sort of get out of that cycle. But then I'm also very intrigued what's going to go on in terms of inspirational searches. So if I want to look for, I don't know, a new pair of shorts, we had that in the beginning, or Speedos, hottest item in the season. So how do I look for one? Do I ask an LLM what's trending, and then I end up going to a brand website? Do I still go to an aggregating place like Zalando so I can see as many Speedos as possible? Will Zalando sell through OpenAI? There's so much that could happen given the rapid development of that. I think that's actually, well, if we had a crystal ball, we don't. I also right now I can't really do it. I think my coin is on the established players for now, but I think there's also a good chance that the LLM providers might actually disrupt. We'll see. But I think maybe we should, Nino, what do you think? Maybe we should make this a discussion. We rarely do that, but I think this calls for a bit of LinkedIn conversation. So if you hear this, guys,
or YouTube
also good. Please use the comments and tell us what you think, because we're really interested in hearing what your predictions are, what also maybe your fears are. This is going to be an interesting, disruptive, maybe cool, maybe time full of opportunities also for retailers and brands. But most definitely it's one where we need to talk, because if we want to succeed, if we want to be the retail industry, we also have to have a strategy towards what's happening with the technology that's entering everyday life. So please feel free to comment and discuss with us in this post or on LinkedIn. We'd be happy.
And I have one addition to what you said earlier. So one of let's say a part prediction, looking at how good, for example, Perplexity or pick any OpenAI is recognizing what's in a picture. So what I do a lot is I take pictures of animals, like a bird, and then I just ask what kind of an animal, what's the name of this animal, and the prediction or the recognition is very high. So I can see a use case where people, if they want to buy the new Speedo, they just take a picture of Nicolas in the Speedo and ask the model, hey, where can I buy this? Or show me similar things, or recommend a size. So I think it's basically Google image search on steroids, I would say, where I see a big use case in the future. That's my part prediction.
Yeah, that's good. Let's see. I really hope that scenario that you just described never becomes true, though. But apart from that, I can definitely see some merit in there. Okay, guys, cool. I think that's it. We just wanted to give you a brief update of what we are seeing on the market. We're going to share some more information as well on LinkedIn, a little post with some more information, like some more intel on where you can read about what's happening here. And we're going to be interested in your guys' opinion. Please follow us if you haven't yet, and make sure that you stay tuned for the next episodes.